That's the beauty of songwriting. You never know when inspiration will come or how it will hit. You just gotta kinda grasp a hold of it and make sense of it somehow. I'm so fascinated by the human longing for meaning. The way we relate romantically to each other is so much to do with our longing for meaning as well. My process is to be by myself when I record. It's quite an emotional performance to pull off when someone else is in the room. I prefer to go away and have my own time with it, bring it in later. I think the more that I can find myself getting out of the way, like you said yourself, trying to get out of thinking too much, and sometimes something truly special can happen. That's the beautiful mystery of songwriting, that you really don't know where these songs come from exactly, and you don't know how you came up with them, and God bless it that you should have the gift of channeling that. There's a vulnerability in music, but you've also got to protect your sacred place and have a place you can still retire to that no one else knows about. So that's a thing I just try to balance. Music is my catharsis for that. It's an incredible blessing that I have this way of expressing myself through music and lyric, and I'm so grateful for that in moments of pain or of suffering that I have this means of channeling it. It's really amazing. My band as well, having them around and being able to jump on stage and bond together and share that energy is really uplifting as well. Yeah, letting go, even just musically, aside from emotionally, I find that quite challenging. Knowing the right time for letting go of my album, for instance, was a really big challenge. Knowing when to put the red flags up and say, it's done. And also, emotionally, with relationships. Contemplation. I read a lot of books on philosophy and religion, and try to keep always growing in that part of my life, because without having a spiritual grounding, I think you can get really swayed by the winds of all the praise or the criticism. It's all very, kind of, up and down. Try to stay up and focused. I haven't stopped writing, which is good. I'm scared to stop completely, otherwise it might lead to stagnancy. It's a really cool time for artists who want to strive for a little more depth in what they want to say to come forward. We live in a very fast world right now. We've got all this media and music which is so accessible to us. It's here 1 minute, gone the next. When you work on an album for 3.5 years, you're kind of ready for it to get out there. To have your songs reach people. Just try to keep the heart turned outward, as well as having moments inward. I think the threat of an industry like this is that you can become sort of self-obsessed. There's so much praise being given to you, there's a real threat of exalting the ego. But for me, I think it's just about taking that time of reflection and contemplation. That's probably my process in every decision that I make, to make sure that I spend time just with myself, and really times of silence and mediation to go through that process. And music is a big part of that as well. The key to all of that is keeping hold of humility and keeping hold of the people around you, and making sure you stay grounded with your family and friends. I think the idea of being on stage and playing for people and being able to inject a little bit of joy into their lives is a really exciting concept for me. That's definitely why I make music. It's never been for any kind of materialistic reasons, so that thought of being able to be up on stage and being able to give something to someone in a moment of need for them that gets me up in the morning, that really excites me. When people ask that question, it's very hard to nail down a formula or a circumstance that I always write in, but I definitely do believe that there have been moments, musically, when I have channeled something, you know. I feel far more connected to the whole band if I can somehow physically respond.